All right, so I want to thank you all for clicking in, and I'm looking to make this meeting a routine meeting. Right now, looking at the third Tuesday of every month, and for that, with that in mind, we don't want to make them long meetings, but we do want to make them profitable and get our eyes and our focus back and get back on track as we head into, if you can believe it, 2026. And so, wow, we've just got I'm excited about what God is going to do as we head into that. So we want to keep these short and helpful as much as possible. So as I go through some of the things I want to go through, if I don't pause for a question, write it down and we'll get it covered at the end. So I just want to kind of give us a fresh start on some of the things we need to be looking at as we head into the new year. So let me see if I can call up my paperwork here. All right, so can everybody see the workers' meeting there listed?
Yes.
Okay, good. Just
Mhm.
want to make sure. All right, so just looking at a few things, I want you to first of all watch out for a vision script coming your way about Sunday school in the relatively near future. The vision script is basically it's the idea of vision, but more detailed, more down to earth on where we want to be or where we have praying that God will take us in the next 3 to 5 years. I've had it written for a good while. I'm putting some fresh tweaks on it, but basically it's the vision, but it's more of a story of what it looks like when we arrive there. The Sunday school structure, the church structure. But so watch out in the next week or so as I get those final tweaks made for the vision script about what Sunday school will look like. And then our next meeting, we can touch on that. So kind of just watch out. Again, it gives a picture of where we're pointed and working toward as fast as the Lord will let us. And as we see this growth and as we anticipate, again, the idea is just seeing what it looks like in 3 years down the road. That's going to mean we got to anticipate some changes. Because as we grow and as we get structured with growth, it means new workers, new classes, new assignments. I was talking to somebody the other day. Our real goal, it's been from the years ago in the ministry, is most folks only have to have two main ministries. Just be involved in two. I know most of you folks are doing multiple, and I praise the Lord for that. But the idea of just having each person having just two main ministries is so that you can give your best to those ministries. Because if you've got 4 or 5 ministries, yeah, you can maybe keep it going, but not each one is not getting the effort, the focus, the prayer, the energy that could be given to it. So we want to make sure that we are able to give ourselves to those 1 or 2 ministries that we're in, key ministries anyway, larger ministries, and plus allow folks to come along and step up and they get plugged in, just like you had to get plugged in initially somewhere for your first classes or first positions. So we want to do that. So we're structured to go ahead. So anticipate change. Don't be afraid of change. And as we make some changes, don't feel like you've been put on the side, whatnot. No, we want to get you focused on the best places you can be. So that's what the vision script kind of gives a picture of it so we can see souls saved and lives changed. Teachers and workers, particularly the teachers, I'd like you to view yourselves as under shepherds for your charges. Uh, Sometimes we forget that. As pastor, I'm the under shepherd. I'm a shepherd over the church. I'd like you teachers to view yourselves as under shepherds of your charges. And when you think about that, if you're going to shepherd that class you have, you're going to love them. I mean, it's not going to be just, and I know it's not for you, but it's not going to be just a duty. It's not going to be just something I have to do, but you'll love them. And that means you'll pray for them. That means you're going to be concerned about them. You'll follow up on absentees. You'll look after special needs they might have. And some of those in the flock that kind of drifted away, you're going to be like the parable, going to go after them. So just kind of see yourself as an under shepherd, not just a teacher, not just standing in the class, but as a shepherd with those flock God has given to you. So that will change. As I have to remind myself, that's where my job is. It really changes my zeal, it changes my focus, it changes my attitude, and it's a real help for me. So, teachers, view yourself as those as an under shepherd or a shepherd of your group. Uh, Looking at the worker interviews, we got a good chunk of them done. I want to thank you for participating and re-participating. Uh, CLA says we ought to do that every 3 to 5 years, and for some of you, it's been closer to 28 years. since we've been through that. So, going back and redoing them, it does several things. Again, it refreshes our mind, it gives us a fresh focus, it reopens the communication line, which is one of the reasons why I want to reinstitute these monthly meetings for the teachers and workers in that regard. It opens up the communication lines. It's a place, it's a time, it's a reminder that we can talk and do that. So, those interviews are important and getting our files up to date and right. So again, I appreciate your participation in that, and you're doing well. Uh, so if you can't fit any of those in your schedule, let me know and we'll do our best to give time. But thank you for the worker interviews. Looking at the background checks, you'll be notified as to what type, if any, you're asked to do now. The state has got some ideas. Insurance people have some ideas about when these background checks ought to be done. So, in case you're not aware, there are two kinds of background checks. There's the general background check, where we just take your ID and go to the FBI and say, is this person wanted for anything? So if I said my name was John Smith, and as John Smith, here's my ID, and we run a background check on John Smith, and sure enough, he's a clean guy. There's no warrants out for him. There's no prison time on him. That's what the general background check does. Live scan goes a little bit farther and they find out, is this really John Smith? So when you go to the live scan and they do the fingerprint idea, that means they say, well, we don't know whether that's John Smith or not, but that guy's, whoever owns that fingerprint has a warrant for their arrest, or that whoever owns that fingerprint is not who they say they are. So it's kind of gets a step up. So we're trying to still work through on what we want to do as far as live scan versus general background checks. So we'll let you know, and I appreciate even if we have you checked again. But that's what those background checks are. But again, thank you for the worker interviews, and they take about 45 minutes a piece to do if we do the whole full-blown ask the questions and do the follow-up. But again, I thank you for that. I want to remind you also that those worker interviews, Christian Law Association and the other attorneys tell us we're not supposed to just give you a form. We can't have you just fill out the form, but we need to ask the questions in person so that in case you don't understand the question, you can ask what we mean by that. Same time, if I sense an answer that's lacking, we can follow up and just ask questions back and forth. So that's why it has to be in person and can't be just a form to fill out. So any questions about the worker interviews that there's people are still being signed up for? Nope. Okay. Appreciate it. Accountability. Look for the benefit and blessings of being accountable. You know, most of us don't like being held accountable. Uh, and we could have a plethora of reasons why not. Sometimes we're just insecure. Sometimes we realize that we're not all that we should be. By the way, none of us should ever feel like we're all we should be. We're always striving for more, always trying to grow. So, looking just at a little bit of accountability for each of us, one of the things we'll be looking at is can we give you an outreach encouragement? To be involved in outreach. You know, talking about a Sunday school class or a junior church class that you're involved in, routinely, you ought to visit, send a card, or call each member of your class so there are about 2 touches each month. In other words, every student twice a month should get a touch, maybe one time's a call, one time's a card, or one time's a visit, but just some touch twice a month. So on the weeks that you're not visiting, then I'd ask and challenge you, let's go soul winning. Let's get involved in the outreach. If you're visiting your class a week, that's great. That's time that you're devoting. That's time that you're seating. But the weeks you're not visiting, let's make sure we get a map, or let's make sure we get involved in an outreach program. Because again, that's for all Christians, especially for leaders, and it'll just give you more heart for it. You might have some people in your kids in your class that know somebody that would like to come or might know, and then you can go to that house and talk to the parents. So let's just kind of keep that in mind that every week we ought to be involved in some sort of outreach, whether the in class, card, visit, or call, and then when we're not visiting our class. So we'll be following up on that. And with that in mind, also expect a renewal or revision of the weekly worker reports. We used to do that about how many calls you made, how many visits you made, and who it was to. And I think that got lost along the way. So this is not to put anybody on the spot. It's just to remind us and keep us accountable and keep us encouraged because it's real easy for if we miss a week, that's fine. We miss 2 weeks and 3 weeks, and pretty soon we're not doing it. So we have an outreach encouragement, and I'm looking forward to that as we head in the new year. That's be a blessing and a help for us. Uh, a refined class activity report. This is the report that you guys fill out every week. We've done a little tweak on the form itself, this activity report. And so what talking about tonight is just some things I want to make sure that we start putting these back on. I'm going to be seeing every report starting probably next week, just following up so I can see. So on the back of the form, it talks about a description of today's class. And I've added what I would like to see is the order of events with times and lesson plan. If your lesson plan is too involved to put on here, just clip it onto that back or put it on the clipboard, and then Mrs. Chan will attach it to this, and I will see that. So what I'm saying by that is the order of events: 10 o'clock, 10:15, from 10 to 10:15, we did this, 10:15 to 10:30. List what songs you did. Again, somewhat of a detailed lesson outline, a little bit more than just David and Goliath. Okay, what about David and Goliath? Or what was the main point, or something along those lines? What craft and games did you play, and then anything else? So a description of today's class, we may have to expand this a little bit. Not trying to make it difficult for you, but something that I can keep track and I can look at and see what we're covering. So the songs, the lesson plan, crafts and games, and anything else, and a brief breakdown of what the service or the class look like for the day. So that goes in that category. And then significant incidents and unusual behavior. That's always going to be as usual. Any injury, what was done, and the results, and the parents notified. When I'm doing these interviews, I'm usually talking about we don't hide things from the parents. And when I say that, I take a caveat in: you do not say to the parent, your kid was a brat today. No, that's not what I'm talking about. We'll keep that to ourselves. But if there was an injury, if they banged their head or somebody bit them or something, note what you did. You looked at their eyes, you maybe put ice on their bruise, made sure they cried when they should and stopped crying when they did, and no issues. Have another worker come and look at them to make sure they saw that as well, and just notate that. And then when you put that on the form, and then when the parents come, you tell them what you did, and you then write down your form, parents notified. Now, obviously, if it's a real significant injury, you're going to call for the parents. I'm not saying that you don't do that, but if it's just a bang in their head or fell down and got a little boo-boo, use your wise discretion on that. But anyway, so significant events and unusual behavior. Maybe there's an excessive misbehavior. You had to put this child twice in timeout or sit in the corner. Just notate that. But don't forget exceptional blessings also. Surely in our class for 45 minutes or an hour, there's going to be a blessing. So look at that and be mindful of that while you're teaching the class. Boy, that's something I'm going to put on my form as a blessing. So hopefully we'll have blessings in here with an occasional negative, but mostly just blessings. But I do want you to put something in there. And then for prayer requests or others, general comments, needs you have in your class, what you ran out of, things like that, how we can help you. So that's what I'm looking at. So it's been revised. So that's the class activity report. Just asking that you fill it in more details, and I'll be seeing that each week. Any questions on the class activity report and what I'm looking for on these areas? Can somebody, I can't see anybody. Can somebody say, are you still there?
Looks good, Pastor.
Okay, no, it's like I said, nobody's on the screen. I'm sound like I'm just talking to the answering machine somewhere. So just want to make sure I wasn't knocked offline and talking to myself. Okay. So that will help us as well. So one last thing I want before I open up for any other questions, kind of a new mantra for us, something that will help us, and that is, I've not finished my ministry until my space is clean and the paperwork is done. So I want you to burn that into your memory banks. So I've not finished my ministry until my space is clean and the paperwork is done. So if you've got stuff laying around, you pick it up for the next people or for the next time, and the paperwork is done. So you sit down and say, boy, that was a busy day, or that was a busy class. Okay, you're almost done. Space is clean and paperwork is done. And again, the paperwork's not just for paperwork's sake, it's to help us be not just accountable, but also help me see and detect any areas that you want to communicate with me and need some help. So that's my challenge for the night. Just looking forward as we're getting ready to go forward. Again, watch out for the vision script. I'll be sending that, and I want you to prayerfully consider that and try to catch that vision as well. So, comments, questions for me?
I think I'm gonna be growing.
Any thoughts, comments? Okay, we'll provide different short trainings as we go through on our regular monthly meeting, but I'm excited about it, and God's gonna continue to do a work and even greater work. So we just have to be doing the work and let God bring the blessings. Anything else tonight, folks?